Assalamu alaikum everyone present over here and watching us live. This session is going to be about the analytical writing section of the GMAT and GRE. You all are aware of the fact that every aptitude test tests you on your writing skills. And it's not just all about your grammatical skills, your vocabulary, but also about how you're able to articulate, how well you're able to articulate your thoughts, your choice of words when you're forming sentences. And that is what the GMAT GRE analytical writing section is all about. How you're able to analyze an argument, how you tackle the prompt that is given, and how you're able to explain your own thoughts and put them into words that are the best choice of words that you could ever give. So let's take a look at how the basic structure of GMAT GRE essay is. So this is a comparison of essay section of the GMAT GRE. Number of writing sections. For GMAT, we have just one section. You have to analyze an argument for the analytical writing section. And for GRE, you have one section as well. However, the number of essay prompts, for GMAT, you just have one prompt, which is the argument prompt that you have, for which you have to form an argument and write about that, analyze an argument. And for GRE, you have two essay prompts. One of them is an issue-based prompt, and one of them is an argument-based prompt. So the length of time that you have, for GMAT, you have 30 minutes to write down an essay. And for GRE, you have two 30-minute sections, because obviously two prompts, so 30 minutes for each of the prompts. Main topics for which you're tested, like I said, in GMAT, you just have to analyze an argument. However, in case of GRE, you have to analyze an argument as well as an issue. So GRE में दो essays होते हैं आपके. Score range is 0 to 6 for both. Basically, what happens is that it's graded twice. Your essay is graded twice, and then the average score is calculated, and your actual score is based on that. So let's move on. GMAT and GRE analytical writing. Argument. First, we are going to look at the argument section of the GMAT and GRE analytical writing, since that is common to both of the aptitude tests. In both GMAT and GRE, you'll be given an argument, and you must evaluate its strengths and weaknesses in an essay. You aren't giving your own opinion on the issue. You're instead discussing the given opinion, what its shortcomings are, and how it could be improved. The analyze an argument essay in GRE is similar to the essay for the GMAT. Here, you'll also have to critique a given argument. So basically what happens is that आपको एक prompt दिया गया. We'll be looking at some examples of prompts as well. You have to pinpoint what is wrong, what are the shortcomings within the prompt that is given to you, how you could analyze it, and how you could put it into words. Organization of your essay is extremely important. GRE में they look for nicely organized paragraphs, and same goes for GMAT as well. And you are going to discuss the given opinion, why it's not credible enough, how it could have been made stronger, or how it could have been made more credible, what evidence is lacking within the prompt. So that is what you're going to look at. Okay, so in GRE, you have to critique as well the given argument. This is a sample argument prompt. क्योंकि argument prompt common to both GMAT and GRE है, इसीलिए हम पहले वो discuss करेंगे. I'm going to read this out for you. Most companies would agree that as the risk of physical injury occurring on the job increases, the wages paid to employees should also increase. Hence, it makes financial sense for employers to make the workplace safer. They could thus reduce their payroll expenses and save money. Discuss how well-reasoned you find this argument. In your discussion, be sure to analyze the line of reasoning and the use of evidence in the argument. For example, you may need to consider what questionable assumptions underlie the thinking and what alternative explanations or counterexamples might weaken the conclusion. You can also discuss what sort of evidence would strengthen or refute the argument, what changes in the argument would make it more logically sound, and what, if anything, would help you better evaluate its conclusion. So basically, you are the judge here, and you are going to evaluate the given piece of prompt, and you're going to form an argument based on that. So obviously, you will have to choose one side, either if you are in favor of it, or you think that it's just the evidence is just not enough, or it's not credible enough, or maybe there is something that is missing here. So you're going to be talking about that. Okay, so this is for the sample argument prompt. अब हम आगे देखते हैं कि कौन से tips हैं जो हमारे लिए helpful हो सकते हैं for GMAT and GRE analytical writing argument essay. There are 7 tips. We are going to have a look at them and how we could apply them efficiently to write down our essay, okay? The first tip, follow the directions. This AW, by the way, means analytical writing, so keep this in mind. The analytical writing section specifically asks you to critique an argument on its strengths and weaknesses. Analytical writing graders aren't looking for a well-written, thoughtful opinion piece about the topic discussed in the prompt. Yes, you are going to be judging the prompt, the argument, and you're going to point out its strengths and weaknesses. If you think that the evidence quoted is not enough, then why so? Using words like because, or maybe giving out some reasons, that is what makes your essay credible enough, and your choice of words also should revolve around the fact that आप लोग जो भी evidence दे रहे हो, it is basically taken from within the prompts section where the text is mentioned related to the argument. तो ये चीज़ आपने अपने mind में रखनी है. Here are the instructions जो कि हमने पीछे भी prompt में देखी थी. The same kind of instructions you will come across when you're going to read the prompt of your essay, the argument essay. Here is an example. Discuss how logically convincing you find this argument. In your discussion, you should analyze the argument's line of reasoning and use of evidence. It may be appropriate in your critique to call into question certain assumptions underlying the argument, or to indicate what evidence might weaken or strengthen the argument. It may also be appropriate to discuss how you would alter the argument to make it more convincing, or discuss what additional evidence, if any, would aid in evaluating the argument. So again, the same thing, you're looking at the strengths and weaknesses of the argument, and you're going to give your own opinions, and you're going to discuss how well the argument has been put up in front of you. If not, then why so? So this is the first tip. Follow the directions. ये जो question में directions होंगी, आपने इनको अपने mind में अच्छे से बिठा लेना है, और इन्हीं के इर्द-गिर्द आपका essay based होना चाहिए. So here's the next tip. Develop a clear structure. Like I said, in GRE as well, they are, of course in GMAT as well, they're looking for very well-worded paragraphs. Not that कि आप कोई बहुत flowery language use करो या बहुत heavy किस्म के vocabulary words use करो. The language should be simple, whatever you're comfortable with. However, the words used should be appropriate and of quality. And they should make your argument clear to understand. That's what the reader, the examiner is looking for. So your introduction, then your 3 to 4 well-developed body paragraphs, and then a conclusion. Keep this in mind that you have 30 minutes, so you cannot waste too much time on structuring your essay and just forget about the content that you're going to be writing about. So structuring में एक limited time रखें ताकि content को आप ज़्यादा time दे सको. Specifically intro, then your conclusion, and your body paragraphs, the sequence, the flow of your argument. Your introduction should restate the main argument of the prompt. Yes, you need to restate the main argument, what exactly is said in the prompt's argument. Then highlight the flaws in the argument, and then you'll discuss in the body of the essay. Of course, since you're discussing the shortcomings, and obviously you are the person who's going to critique it. So yes, you need to look for the flaws as well. Each of the body paragraphs should focus on a specific flaw in the argument. Tip number 3. Causality. Prompts often contain, know the common analytical writing flaws. Extremely important. Prompts often contain errors in causality, which means that they attribute the wrong effect to the wrong cause. Yes, sometimes this also happens कि वो जिस चीज़ को पिन पॉइंट कर रहे होते हैं कि दिस इज़ द इफेक्ट ऑफ दिस पर्टिकुलर थिंग, it might be not in the right direction. For instance, global warming is happening because of, and they give the reason that global warming is happening because of, let's say, terrorism. Global warming has not much to do with terrorism, so this is not a direct link, right? So ये आपने देखना कि cause and effect relationship mentioned within the argument, the prompt, is correct. The relationship should make sense. Vagueness. Prompts often contain vague terms or statistics that are used incorrectly to draw conclusions. Yes, so you need to find this out. कभी-कभी evidence जो उन्होंने use की होती है, like statistics or maybe any numbers or whatever evidence they have used, it's not clear enough, or it does not make sense, or it's completely incorrect. So keep that in mind as well. Overconfidence. Prompts often contain overconfident language, undoubtedly, definitely, and of course. ये भी होता है prompts में कभी-कभी ऐसी language use हुई होती है कि जिससे वो reader को एक मिनट के लिए they just might just get into it and believing it that it's correct and it's absolutely credible information. However, be careful. The text should make sense to you, and it should be, if they have made a claim, it should be clear enough how they are making that claim and how it connects with the main statement that the prompt has made in the argument. So this is about the common flaws that you might ignore, but you need to keep these in mind. So this is going to be about that. Tip 4, skim through the passage and make an outline. Very important. ये चीज़ हमें हर जगह पे help करती है कि हम जब भी passage या वो particular paragraph पढ़ते हैं argument का, हम उसमें एक main point ढूंढ लें जो हम main claim है in the passage. You should make a note of that. You should highlight that. While outlining may seem like one of the more basic essay tips, taking 5 minutes at the beginning of the analytical writing section to sketch out a basic outline of your essay will really help you as you start to write. So what I believe is when I have read when I read the paragraph of the prompt, I make a point in my mind कि मैंने उसको start कैसे करना है, और उसी वक्त ये clear भी हो जाता है कि मैं उसको support करूँ या नहीं, या मुझे लग रहा है कि ये इसमें कोई shortcomings हैं या नहीं. This happens, and this happens to you because you have read it and you have understood it well. So it's going to be a very easy process to evaluate if the argument is strong enough or not. However, the content, once again, I would say, is what needs to be in a flow and needs to be well structured. Everyone outlines differently, but in general, I'd suggest having 1 to 2 bullet points for each paragraph that highlight the main ideas the paragraph will cover. Outlining will help you make sure you've covered all the main points. You need to fully answer the question. Yes. So a rough outline of how you're going to write down your essay, maybe a one-liner for every paragraph and then a description. Obviously, आप पूरा essay तो नहीं outline में लिखोगे, but एक छोटी सी outline 3 to 4 lines की बना लोगे, तो उससे your job will become easy. Just like we do brainstorming in the beginning, we always have this mind map in our mind, और हम थोड़े से pointers बना लेते हैं कि अच्छा इस paragraph में मैं ये discuss करूँगी. इसी तरह इस essay के लिए भी एक छोटा सा mind map आप अपने पास बना लो. So that is going to help you with the flow of the argument. All right. So that was about skimming through the passage and making an outline. Tip number 5, pick a side and stick with it. Yes. If you agree with what the argument is, give us a reason why you agree. If you do not agree with it, give us the reason and tell us where are the shortcomings that you found out. Readers really want to read a piece in which the writer flip-flops between opinions. This is especially true on the argument analysis, on which you will be tested on your ability to argue one side of an issue effectively. Even if you can't identify a side you agree with, pick one and focus on that side exclusively. Sometimes this happens that when you read an argument, you might not be able to write down in the opposite direction. आपके पास शायद इतना ज़्यादा evidence ना हो, या शायद आपको इतना clear ना हो कि उसमें shortcomings क्या हैं. So choose the safer side and pick one and focus on that side exclusively, which means कि जब आप किसी चीज़ को किसी argument को explain कर रहे हो, उसके reasons दे रहे हो कि वो आपको क्यों valid लग रहा है, तो फिर या तो उसको उस तरीके से सही तरीके से explain करो, or else if you think that you are totally against it, then give us the reasons. Enough information should be there in your essay. So this is about that. Once you have chosen a side, you cannot twist your words and you cannot keep on changing your opinion. You have to stick to your main idea. You have to stick to your opinion that you formed right in the beginning of the essay. Okay, so this tip is really important from the perspective के हम अपनी thoughts को within paragraphs change ना बार-बार करें. We cannot vary our thoughts while we are writing our body paragraphs. So this tip 5 is about that. Tip number 6. Use very specific examples. If your supporting examples are general, you're likely going to be disappointed in your essay score. Pick specific examples that are relevant and support the argument you're making. Abhi hum jab essay prompt ek padhenge, and then we are going to look at an example essay for that, you will understand that general examples use karna is not a very good option. Rather, थोड़े से specific होने चाहिए, जिसके लिए हमें थोड़ा सा अपना obviously mind use करना पड़ता है. और मैं ये भी बता दूँ कि जो भी आप लोगों के पास essay के लिए prompt आएगा, it's mostly based on let's just say science or social issues. It's not something very, it's not something that you would not be able to write about. So it's generalized. However, थोड़ा सा knowledge आप अपना खुद से use करते हैं and you form your own opinion based on that knowledge. Tip number 7, practice. One of the best essay tips is to practice, practice, practice before you actually complete the analytical writing section on test day. You can find real retired GMAT GRE argument analysis prompts on the GMAT GRE website for free. बहुत सारे prompts online हैं, ETS के ऊपर हैं. You have them on mba.com, so you can find hundreds of prompts over there. You can pick out any and write about them. And there are sample essays, of course. They are scored, and you can get an idea of which essay has the best score and why. So this tip is extremely important. Like I said, practice is the way to go, and practice is the key. So if you're not practicing enough and you just think कि बस मैं थोड़ा सा देख के 1-2 papers देख के मैं कर लूँगा, तो ये ऐसा नहीं होता है. Prepare करना पड़ता है, and you have to practice each and every section again and again, especially the essay section if you want to score well. Summary of the 7 tips. Follow the directions, develop a clear structure, know the common analytical writing flaws, skim through the passage and make an outline, pick a side and stick with it, use very specific examples, practice. So this is all about the 7 tips for the argument section, argument writing of the GMAT GRE essay. Now we are going to talk about the issue task of the GRE analytical writing. Issue based essay कैसे different होता है उसको हम थोड़ा सा देख लेते हैं. It's not very different from the argument essay. थोड़ा सा इसको हम देख लेते हैं so that we have an idea. It's an additional essay for GRE, by the way. For analytical writing on the GRE, you'll have to write 2 essays, analyze an argument and analyze a task or an issue. You'll have 30 minutes to write each essay. For analyze an issue task, you're given an issue and you'll need to explain your own stance on it and justify that stance with evidence. Once again, it's a general issue. इसमें कोई ऐसी चीज़ नहीं होती जो आपको पहले से ना पता हो. It could be based on social issues, it could be based on science, anything, humanities and all of those, history and all of those subject areas. Additional essay sample prompts. Now, these are the sample prompts for the issue-based essay for the GRE. Let's read the first one. To understand the most important characteristics of a society, one must study its major cities. Write a response in which you discuss the extent to which you agree or disagree with the statement and explain your reasoning for the position you take. In developing and supporting your position, you should consider ways in which the statement might or might not hold true and explain how these considerations shape your position. तो एक उसने हमें start में line दे दी, and then you have to write a whole argument about it. So that's your issue on which you're going to write your essay about. Okay, then another prompt. There's a claim that the author is making. Governments must ensure that their major cities receive the financial support they need in order to thrive. Reason. It is primarily in cities that a nation's cultural traditions are preserved and generated. Write a response in which you discuss the extent to which you agree or disagree with the claim and the reason on which that claim is based. थोड़ा सा idea हो गया होगा कि और ये तो I'm sure हर कोई decide कर लेता है पढ़ते ही कि if they agree or disagree. Doesn't that happen naturally? Like you're able to decide, no, I'm against this, or if I'm in favor of this. And then you have to base your argument on that. So this is for the issue-based essay, example of the prompts that you could get. Additional essay, 7 tips to ace. अच्छा, अब ये जो additional essay है, इसको किस तरीके से handle करना है? Of course, it's different from the argument essay and similar in some ways as well. How it's different, let's take a look at that. Tip number 1, write at least 3 practice essays. Practice makes perfect. You can study for the GRE online by looking up the analytical writing prompts and practicing writing several of them within the 30-minute guideline. Towards the end of this session, I'm going to be sharing some links and some, because a lot of you people were asking for the resource books, so I have named some of them in one of the slides, so you guys could take a look and make a note of that, okay? The only way to get comfortable with the time constraints is to practice them. So set up test-like conditions and get to work. Have a timer in front of you, keep your highlighter or whatever you have ready, because obviously ये तो अभी तो आप पेपर के ऊपर ही करोगे, तो इसको आप थोड़ा सा प्लान आउट कर लो, थोड़ा सा वर्क लाइक एनवायरनमेंट अपना क्रिएट कर लो, टेस्ट लाइक एग्जाम लाइक एनवायरनमेंट, और उसमें आप लोग अपना एसे लिखो, एंड देन सी हाउ मच टाइम यू टेक टू एनालाइज एन आर्ग्यूमेंट. Do as many prompts as you can, and then if the tip says write at least 3 practice essays, this means ke chalo once in a week write 3 practice essays, or maybe once in 2 weeks you could write 3 practice essays. This helps. Like Harun just said ke weekend pe 4 hours de do, ya weekdays mein half an hour every day, kabhi math ko kabhi English ko, to ye practice karne mein half an hour, to I think it's not that hard. Okay. Tip 2, don't waffle. Choose one side of the issue only and don't try to have it both ways. Don't swing both ways. Even if you don't believe in the side you choose, you'll only have time to argue one side effectively. If you take a middle of the road approach, you won't sound as confident or clear. So you can't be neutral. Remember this. And ideally, I would say that usually log uska opposite hi karte hain. They do not support the claim and they critique on it rather. So this is what happens. Remember, according to the ETS is basically the GRE website, the official one. According to ETS, the readers are evaluating the skill with which you address the specific instructions and articulate and develop an argument to support your evaluation of the issue. What exactly you say, what side you choose to defend is less important than how you defend it. So yes, make your choice wisely. If you're defending the main claim, how you're defending it is what matters, not what you're defending. So keep this in mind and stick to one opinion, stick to one side. Tip 3, choose very specific real-world examples. Don't be general. Every reader would like to see more specific examples. Mitt Romney, The War of 1812, Keynesian economic theory, an anecdote about your Uncle Rolf, the compulsive gambler, etc. You can have some fun with it, and your examples don't have to be the most scholarly. What are you an expert on? So, आप लोग बहुत ज़्यादा obviously इसके लिए इतना confuse होने की ज़रूरत नहीं है. The essay prompt, of course, is going to be based on very basic and general issues. तो थोड़ा सा उसको अगर I'm sure हर किसी के पास कुछ ना कुछ share करने के लिए होता है on those basic subject areas जिससे related आपको कोई issue आ जाता है जिस पे आपने अपना argument base करना होता है. So this was kind of specific. So don't get overwhelmed कि अगर मुझे ऐसा आ गया तो मैं Keynesian economic theory के बारे में क्या लिखूँगा, मैंने तो उसके बारे में कभी पढ़ा ही नहीं है, तो ऐसा कुछ नहीं होगा. It would be very basic and it would be general information that you're going to write about. Tip number 4, but make sure your examples are relevant to the topic. अब किस topic के ऊपर लिख रहे हो वो उस चीज़ से relevant होना चाहिए जो prompt में mentioned है. ये नहीं कि बाद prompt में global warming की हुई और आप जाके pollution कह रही हूँ, आप जाके किसी और environmental issue के ऊपर लिख रहे हो. Don't do that. Don't make that mistake. Keep on track. You can absolutely choose examples from a wide range of subjects, personal experience, so you can quote your own personal experiences as well, pop culture, history, sports, literature, current events, politics, etc. But make sure you explain how your example clearly supports your thesis. Yes, If you have the main statement, the main claim that you're making, thesis is the main claim that you're making, and that is in the very first paragraph of your essay. So your example should support your thesis. It shouldn't be against it. So remember this. Tip number 5. Avoid first person and self-reference. Don't use words like I think, I have. So these words should not be used. थोड़ा general होना चाहिए. ये I वाली approach जो होती है, ये usually readers को इतनी पसंद नहीं आती है. I think or I believe are obvious. You are the person writing this essay. First person pronouns should be avoided, should only appear in a body paragraph if you're using personal experience as an example and telling a story from your own life to support your thesis. Never use I in your introductory or concluding paragraph. Please take a note of this. You're not supposed to use I in your paragraphs. Avoid using it as much as you can. Even if you're quoting a personal experience, बहुत उसको carefully I का pronoun use करें, so बहुत ज़्यादा obvious ना हो. So because readers don't usually like a student using I as the first person pronoun. So keep this in mind. Who's asking this question? Yes. Fiction writing में you're saying कि हम लिख सकते हैं. Well, that depends. But usually they discourage that you use the first person pronoun I, we, us, ठीक है? इसको थोड़ा सा generalize करके लिखें. Usually people इस तरह से words use करके बहुत ज़्यादा specific अपने बारे में नहीं होना चाहिए. ठीक है ना? Generalized हो. Authenticity तो develop होती है, but when you're quoting examples, you don't need to have to use I for that. सिर्फ personal experience के लिए आप authenticity के लिए अपना I का pronoun use कर सकते हो, ठीक है? But usually avoid it. It's not preferable. Tip 6. Make strong declarative statements. Look for ways to add charge adjectives, adverbs, and because clauses to make your sentences sound more confident. I तो मैंने मना किया यूज़ करने से. This is correct because, this is believable because. इस तरह के sentences जिनसे आपका claim credible हो जाए, जो आपने thesis statement right in the beginning दिया है, it makes sense and it becomes believable. For that, you need to sound confident when you are forming your sentences. Make use of adjectives, descriptive words, make use of declarative statements, okay? The president shouldn't allow Congress to pass the law, or it is unacceptable for the president to permit Congress to pass the law because it unconstitutionally overextends Congress' powers. So this sentence has a very strong approach because it has used the reason very carefully and very, I would say, words को बहुत अच्छे तरीके से use किया गया है. Because it's giving a reason to make it believable. Tip number 7. Refute the opposing view in your conclusion. Extremely important. The original perspective of the mentioned in the argument, in the issue task, you have to quote that in your final paragraph, in your concluding paragraph, and once again negate it, refute it, and deny it rather. ठीक है, ये ज़रूरी है. Many GRE students wonder what to do in their conclusion. Try introducing the opposing viewpoint, showing that you recognize that in fact some people do not support your position, then refute their argument in 1 or 2 sentences and reinforce the validity of your own thesis. This is kind of a counter-argument strategy कि दूसरे का भी एक दफ़ा दोबारा quote कर दिया and then denying it or saying it's not credible enough and then giving your own point of view once again to conclude the essay in a very nice and organized manner. So this is basically about that. Here's a sample analysis argument writing prompt. First, we are going to read this, and we are going to have an idea, and then we are going to talk about the kind of paragraphs that we could develop. Maybe you guys could come up with ideas, and then we are going to look at a sample essay prompt that a student has written. In surveys, Mason City residents rank water sports, swimming, boating, and fishing among their favorite recreational activities. The Mason River flowing through the city is rarely used for these pursuits. However, and the City Park Department devotes little of its budget to maintain riverside recreational facilities. For years, there have been complaints from residents about the quality of the river's water and the river's smell. In response, the state has recently announced plans to clean up Mason River. Use of the river for water sports is therefore sure to increase. The Mason River, flowing through the city, is rarely used for these pursuits. However, and the City Park Department devotes little of its budget to maintain riverside recreational facilities. For years, there have been complaints from residents about the quality of the river's water and the river's smell. In response, the state has recently announced plans to clean up Mason River. The city government should, for that reason, devote more money in this year's budget to riverside recreational facilities. Now you see they have given you, they have made a claim, they have given the reasons as to how they support their claim, and now how they are going to, what is the solution to that? Write a response in which you examine the stated or unstated assumptions of the argument. Be sure to explain how the argument depends on the assumptions and what the implications are if the assumptions prove unwarranted. Did you get an idea of this is, by the way, an argument writing prompt, okay? So, isko thoda sa unhone explain kiya hai. Do you think it's credible information the author has given his claim and it's believable? Do you think it's credible? Okay, you think it's not credible. All right, anyone else who thinks it's not credible enough, or maybe it's lacking some sort of evidence which should have been there in order to make it believable? Okay, so you think that statistics are missing? Some statistical information should have been there. Anything else that you think is lacking in this particular prompt? Okay. All right. Bilkul theek. Okay. So now you're going to be writing a response, and you're going to state assumptions of the argument, and you're going to explain how the argument depends on the assumptions and what the implications are if the assumptions prove unwarranted. So if it's not true, what is going to happen? Okay, let's take a look at the sample analysis, sample essay that the student has written. Can you guys read it? You cannot, okay. I might just zoom it then. Is it any better? Okay. Okay, wide zoom is, I think, not a sensible choice. I'm going to do it to 16:9. I think I'll read it out for you. Okay. Yes, this is much better. While it may be true that the Mason City government ought to devote more money to riverside recreational facilities, this author's argument does not make a cogent case for increased resources based on river use. So, the student actually agrees to the point of view that the two of them have stated. It is easy to understand why city residents would want a cleaner river, but this argument is rife with holes and assumptions, and thus not strong enough to lead to increased funding. So what is the student doing? He is denying the original claim. He is against the claim that has been made in the original prompt passage. So let's see how he's going to make it credible enough and believable enough as to iski jo main statement, thesis statement hai, wo usko kaise evidence ke saath support karega. Citing surveys of city residents, the author reports city residents' love of water sports. It is not clear, however, the scope and validity of that survey. For example, the survey could have asked residents if they prefer using the river for water sports or would like to see a hydroelectric dam built which may have swayed residents toward river sports. So see, he's coming up with solutions as well, कि अगर ये ऐसे होता तो ज़्यादा बेहतर था, या ये mention करते तो ज़्यादा बेहतर था. So you have to think, you have to be creative as well. So you have to think and you have to come up with some extra information that you need to come up with in your own mind. The survey may have been 10 pages long with 2 questions dedicated to river sports. We just do not know, unless the survey is fully representative, valid, and reliable. It cannot be used to effectively back the author's argument. Do you think the student is right over here? Do you think his claim makes sense in the first body paragraph? It does. अब उसने अपना introductory paragraph में उसने अपना पहले original claim लिखा, फिर उसने जो उसका thesis statement था वो mention किया that he's not in support of what the original claim is and he's rather against it. In the first body paragraph, he's giving us reasons as to why he does not believe the original claim. Let's look at the second body paragraph and the third paragraph. Additionally, The author implies that residents do not use the river for swimming, boating, and fishing, despite their professed interest, because the water is polluted and smelly. While a polluted, smelly river would likely cut down on river sports, a concrete connection between the residents' lack of river use and the river's current state is not effectively made. Look at his observations. He has read it very clearly and he has made his notes. So, though there have been complaints, we do not know if there have been numerous complaints from a wide range of people, or perhaps from one or two individuals who made numerous complaints. So he's mentioning this as well. He has observed it and he's mentioning it. To strengthen her argument, the author would benefit from implementing a normal survey asking a wide range of residents why they do not currently use the river. Building upon the implication that residents do not use the river due to the quality of the river's water and the smell, the author suggests that a river cleanup will result in increased river usage. If the river's water quality and smell result from problems which can be cleaned, this may be true. For example, if the decreased water quality and aroma is caused by pollution by factories along the river, this conceivably could be remedied. But if the quality and aroma results from the natural mineral deposits in the water or surrounding rock, this may not be true. There are some bodies of water which emit a strong smell of sulfur due to the geography of the area. Now, this is his general knowledge. He knows, and he's quoting them, science-based knowledge, so he's quoting it, and he's making good use of it over here. This is not something likely to be affected by a cleanup. Consequently, a river cleanup may have no impact upon river usage. Regardless of whether the river's quality is able to be improved or not, the author does not effectively show a connection between water quality and river usage. Now, the concluding paragraph. Do you think this student has been able to justify his claim well enough? Okay. And do you think he has made good use of the knowledge that he has? Did you read the first person pronoun I anywhere? No, you did not. Okay. Now, the concluding paragraph. A clean, beautiful, safe river often adds to a city's property values, leads to increased tourism and revenue from those who came to take advantage of the river, and a better overall quality life for residents. For these reasons, city government may decide to invest in improving riverside recreational facilities. However, this author's argument is not likely significantly persuade the city government to allocate increased funding. The last sentence has a grammatical problem. It's not likely significantly persuasive. So since this is an original student response, उसमें कोई भी grammatical changes भी नहीं हुए हैं. Basically, it has to be persuasive. So, persuaded the city government to allocate increased funding. So, उसने original claim को last paragraph में एक दफ़ा दोबारा quote किया और उसने उसको explain किया कि ऐसा होना चाहिए. But इस author का claim के claims और इसकी evidence is not enough. The argument made by the author is not enough to make it believable that it actually needs funding. Okay? So, this is this essay scored 6, by the way. It was so good. So as you can see, the structure, the organization of the ideas, the paragraphs, everything is so well balanced, and he has used his personal knowledge as well, the knowledge that he might have had collected from somewhere, and then he has made good use of it. So सही time पे सही चीज़ आपके mind में आ जाए, ये भी बहुत बड़ी blessing होती है, by the way. So that's about it. Okay, so I'm going to be asking questions from you, and I'm going to be taking questions from you as well as to how you guys have understood the analytical writing section and how you guys are going to go about your essays. And if you have practiced them, what problems have you come across? So let's just have a question-answer session. Anything that is not clear from all of these tips that we have discussed? Yes, I'll come to you. You know that the word limit कोई such है नहीं. 30 minutes है. आप 2 minutes reading the prompt में लगा दोगे. फिर आप 20 minutes या 15-20 minutes आप body paragraphs को structure करने में लगा दोगे. 2-3 minutes conclusion and introductory paragraph में you're going to spend. So what do you think? Total time आपका 30 minutes तक हो जाएगा, right? उसमें आप कितने words लिख सकते हो? Have you ever counted the number of words that you can write in 30 minutes? I think yes, I think 350 to 500 words से ज़्यादा हम नहीं लिख सकते हैं in 30 minutes, especially when we have to plan it well, we have to give supporting evidence for whatever claim we are making. So इससे ज़्यादा words नहीं लिख सकते, और quality is more important than quantity. So make sure you're putting quality into the ideas and examples that you're quoting. So that is what we need to look for. And then the structure, the paragraphs should be 4 to 5 lines long. That's the ideal limit. So that answers your question, I guess. You also had a question? I'll come to you. Okay, yes. Well, that is the thing. Yeah. It's not, yes, worn by, yeah. Okay. Uh, okay. Okay. Right. So his question is that if we get a topic on which we you're basically saying that if you do not believe a claim made in a certain prompt, how would you address that? Well, if you do not believe it, then you choose the opposite side of it. But of course, उसके लिए आपके पास supporting evidence बहुत अच्छी होनी चाहिए. That is what they want. अगर आप किसी चीज़ में बिलीव भी नहीं करते हो या किसी चीज़ में बिलीव करते हो, तो आप उसके लिए क्यों करते हो उसके रीजंस आपने लिखने हैं, राइट? सो you have to play with words, and you have to make sure that whatever argument you are explaining makes sense, even if you don't believe in it. That's the thing that you have to do. It was difficult for you. Exactly, exactly. Yes, this depends on the situation. This depends on the quality of the content that you're going to write down in your essay. So that is why you cannot be आप उस वक्त ये नहीं सोचोगे कि मैं इस चीज़ में बिलीव करता हूँ या नहीं. आप ये सोचोगे कि मैंने इस चीज़ को किस तरीके से cater करना है, and how am I going to produce content that has quality, right? उस वक्त ये चीज़ कोई नहीं सोच रहा होता कि मैं तो इस चीज़ को बिलीव ही नहीं करता. मैं लिख कैसा सकता हूँ उसके ऊपर, that is all that matters at that point of time. Yes. Yes. Exactly. True, that's true. Absolutely. Yes, we do. This essay, by the way, it was an example of an argument writing prompt. So keep this in mind. Here, the student has made his own claim, right? And he has opposed the author's original claim, and he has given his own evidence. So in case of, it totally depends on you, but the ideal approach is to oppose if you have enough evidence. You could be in the favor of it as well, but that totally depends. Yes. Yes, you can be in favor. You can critique on it as well कि कहीं पर कुछ कम है, कुछ ज़्यादा है. But mostly you are critiquing, and you're taking out the weaknesses and the strengths within that particular prompt. So usually the ideal approach is to oppose the original claim. That's the ideal approach. But that totally depends on how you feel about the prompt that's given to you. You can use your personal, yes, you can use your personal examples, but like I said, be very clever with using the first person pronouns like I, because don't make it so obvious, or don't use it frequently, because the reader they do not, the readers, they don't encourage the usage of personal pronouns. Okay, so that's something that you need to keep in mind. Any other question? Yes. 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 Absolutely. Yes. Yes. Yeah. Yes. Oh. Yes. Like, yes. Actually, when we were going through the tips, we did come across a tip that said that stick to one side. That has to be done right from the beginning. Yes. Yes. What you are saying is, I got your point. You're saying that if we believe in the original claim, and okay, okay, okay. Yes. Yes. Okay. Okay, maybe you could just give me an example of a concluding paragraph because your question is not very clear
For example,
at the moment.
if I get an example from the
Yes, please do.
said, for example, if the genes question was there, no?
Yes.
If we say that the author is saying that the genes is a good dress for females, but we disagree with this.
Okay.
Right? And in the conclusion, right, the author is saying the genes is good for
Yes.
females, but this has religious implications or whatever like that. So the first statement we give in the conclusion look likes that we are waffling. First is agreeing with
Yes.
the author, and then with the use of but, we disagree with this.
Yes.
So during my practice, I felt it really difficult to use these sort of things together. To just, you can say, this statement, how to get this sort of good conclusion, so that we
For
can,
that, you need to plan it up right from the beginning. Make an outline of each and every paragraph. This was one of the tips. Like I said, when you have chosen a side, you cannot be changing it. And you said you're not going to change it, right? So making an outline means making an outline for the first introductory paragraph, for the body paragraph, for the concluding paragraph as well. Once you plan it up in your head, there's no way that you're going to get lost and you're not going to be on the track. Yes, there are. There are transition words that you can use. Yes. But is not a transition word, by the way. It is a conjunction. Transition words like alternatively, however, nevertheless, these are the kind of words that you could be using, right? And if you think that the author's original claim is what you're supporting, or maybe you're not in favor of it, then you could be using however, but you could also use as far as, whereas. So these are the kind of words that you could be using. And to sum it up, right? So in the end, these are the kind of phrases or words that you could be using as transition words. So this is how, and I would come back to your question in the end, if you could just write a conclusion paragraph and just show it to me right now so that I could get a clearer picture of what exactly you're asking, right? Okay, anyone else with a question? Yes.
मैम एक तो ये है कि 30 मिनट कैसे है और हमारे पास टाइम कंस्ट्रेंट है और अगर किसी का टाइपिंग इशू है तो वो तो शायद इसी में फंस के रह जाएगा और आगे वो निकल ही नहीं सकेगा इट कैन बी और सेकंड बेसिकली मेरा क्वेश्चन ये है जो आपने पहली एग्जांपल दी थी वो इंजरी वाली और उसके साथ पे उनकी इंक्रीज कर दी जाती है तो उसमें हम उसके साथ एग्री करते हुए कि हाँ ठीक है ये लेकिन हम ये चाहते हैं कि अगर वो अपने एम्प्लॉयज़ की इंश्योरेंस या कोई इंडोमेंट फंड इंट्रोड्यूस करें क्योंकि जब वो पे इंक्रीज करवाएंगे
मुझे आपकी बात समझ आ गई यू आर अग्रीइंग विद द क्लेम बट यू आर गिविंग सॉल्यूशंस यस सम सजेशंस then if you but that means that you're choosing two sides at a time. You're not sticking to one claim. So even if you have to give more suggestions, play around with words very carefully. उससे ये obvious ना हो कि author जो है वो जो reader है he is getting an impression from reading after reading your essay that this person is not very sure about his claim. So play around with words very carefully. Don't make this mistake कि you're choosing two sides at a time and explaining them.
तो मैं उसके claim को reject कर सकता हूँ इस बेस पे कि अगर हम उनकी सैलरी इंक्रीज कर रहे हैं तो वो शायद सेविंग नहीं कर सकेंगे और जब टाइम आएगा वो यूज नहीं कर सकते इट्स बेटर कि हम इंश्योरेंस या इंडोमेंट फंड इंट्रोड्यूस करवा दें और उसको मैं अपना क्लेम बना के उसको एविडेंस के साथ प्रूव करने की कोशिश
बिल्कुल यही दिस इज एग्जैक्टली व्हाट यू नीड टू डू एट द राइट टाइम मेक द राइट चॉइस कभी कभी ऐसा होता है हम डिसाइड करते हैं हम उसके फेवर में लिखेंगे और हमारे पास एविडेंस ही नहीं सपोर्टिंग होती है तो ये चीज़ बहुत ज़रूरी है कि हम जो साइड चूज़ करें इफ़ वी आर क्रिटिकिंग इट वी शुड हैव इनफ एविडेंस लाइक 2 or 3 points विच इज़ वाई वन ऑफ द टिप्स आई वुड अगेन रिपीट दैट टिप make an outline, make a note of each paragraph that you're going to write. 3-4 keywords जो आप उस paragraph में लिखोगे ताकि आपके mind में रहे कि आपने idea express क्या करना है, right?
Or is it enough 2 or 3 arguments to rebut the claim?
बिल्कुल. And once again, guys, I would suggest go through essay prompts and the scores that have been given on those essay prompts. They have scores from all the way till 6 and then all the way to 1. You don't want to get a 1 or 2, right? So उतने अच्छे essays भी पढ़ो और जो सबसे बुरे scored essays हैं वो भी पढ़ो, so that you have an idea कि आप किस category में fall करते हैं और फिर उससे ऊपर कैसे जाना है, right? क्योंकि इस ऐसे में आपने पढ़ा होगा उसने बहुत सिंपल लैंग्वेज यूज़ की, कोई ऐसे वर्ड्स नहीं यूज़ किए जो डिफिकल्ट हैं. इट्स ऑल वेरी सिंपल, बट ही हैज़ मेड दिस क्लेम सो क्लियर दैट इट ऑल मेक्स सेंस. इट ऑल क्रिएट्स अ क्लियर पिक्चर इन द रीडर्स माइंड व्हाट इज हिज साइड एंड व्हाई डज ही बिलीव इन इट, राइट? यस, I'm going to go through this after the session, right? Okay, and yes.
I just wanted to request that if you can kindly like do the issue task as well. Maybe you can walk us through.
Okay,
if
I'll
not,
do.
You don't have a like sample response. Maybe you
Okay.
can just discuss with us.
I'll
the
discuss it with
participation.
you after the session, okay?
Okay, sure,
Because I
thanks.
have to share the resource books names as well, so I'll be sharing an issue-based essay with you as well, okay? Anyone else with a question?
How is the scoring done? In GRE, we have 2 sections, and in GMAT, we have 1 section, and the
Yes.
scoring is based on 0 to 6.
Yes.
So it is equally divided, or it is an overall in GRE?
It is an average of the two. It is equally, of course, it's equally divided, and then because 2 examiners are going to be checking your essay, so it's an average of. It's basically what happens is अलग-अलग 2 essays को 2 दफा mark किया जाएगा, right? And then the total of that is what you're going
So
to
if
get.
we have written one essay a little better than the other, then the average can be.
It could be better, for sure. Why not? अगर आपका argument essay ज़्यादा अच्छा है issue based essay से, so obviously you are in the position to have a good score on your analytical writing section, of course. क्योंकि ज़रूरी नहीं कि दोनों essays बहुत अच्छे हो जाएं. एक essay में problem आ सकता है क्योंकि by the time you're done writing one essay, you're already very tired and you're lost. So, which is why GRE जो है वो इसलिए थोड़ा सा problematic हो जाता है. For people who are not very good with handling writing is where they feel confused about whether they should give GRE or not, right? Because it has 2 essays. Anyone else with a question?
Miss, I have a question.
Yes.
What is the sequence of this question? Like, if you are going for GRE, then it would we need to attempt this question after the MCQ section or prior to that?
I think for GMAT it's the first section, and for GRE I guess it's also the first section, but I'll check and confirm. Okay.
All right.
It's the first section. Yes, it's the first section. For GMAT, I knew that was the first section, but he said that for GRE also it's the first section. So yes, which is actually good. Don't you think? You're done with writing in the very first section, and you get rid of it, and the pressure comes down, right? It goes down. Right. Yes. Anyone else with a question? Yes.
How to outline the essay? Can you once again?
Okay. When you read the main passage given in the prompt, the first thing that comes to your mind is what's the main claim of the author, right? You make note of that. The second thing, if you're in favor of it or if you're not in favor of it, make a note of that. The third thing, if you're in favor of it, what are the points that you found credible enough that you could believe and for which you give the author some credit that he has done a good job in writing it? And then, what are the weaknesses? Point those out as well. So, आपने जो side choose की है, उसके basis पे आप क्या points लिखोगे, वो आप note down कर लो for the body paragraphs. Like he has done over here, the student, he has made his body paragraphs, and in each body paragraph, he has given a reason why he doesn't believe in the original claim, right? उसने बताया कि उसने surveys दिए, but survey results believable नहीं है क्योंकि वो सही तरीके से put down नहीं किए गए in the prompt. उसने बताया कि उसने 2-3 और reasons भी दिए. Complaints are not enough, right? So इस तरह के reasons जिनसे पता चले कि आप उसके against क्यों हो. Why are you opposing the original claim, right? So इस तरीके से उसको outline करो. Outline में इतना ज़्यादा time नहीं लगाना. 5, 6, 7 minutes are more than enough. 5 minutes, I would say, it's an ideal limit. उसके बाद अपने essay को structure करना start करो. That's the way to go. Yes.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
अस्सलाम वालेकुम मैम. मैंने आपसे पूछना है कि
वालेकुम सलाम.
essay की जो length है वो कितनी होनी चाहिए उस
Essay की length, somebody asked me over here as well. It could be there's no word limit in the GRE or GMAT essay section. Since you have 30 minutes, I think the ideal limit, according to me, is between 350 to 500 words. वो सब पे depend करता है कि वो कितना अच्छा लिख सकते हैं. But लंबा करने के लिए content खराब मत कीजिए. उतनी limit रखिए that you could easily manage within those 30 minutes, because you have 30 minutes and you have to keep that in mind, and you have to plan accordingly, and leave 2 to 3 minutes in the end to go through your essay once again, to see if something's wrong, if something's missing, if you've forgotten a word in between a sentence, कोई punctuation marks, उस चीज़ के लिए भी at least 3 minutes ज़रूर रखें, right? So yeah.
Yes, ma'am. Actually, I'm going to recapitulate the whole discussion. Here I am.
Okay, yes, yeah.
I'm going to recapitulate the whole thing. I have written a structure for the whole essay and just want to confirm, is it like that? We just start with a general statement, and then we have to rewrite the topic that is over there.
Yeah.
And a synonymical words and like this. And then what this essay is going to reflect, that is introduction.
Yes.
And then the body paragraph.
No, in the introduction, you also have to state if you're favoring it or if you're against it.
What we are going to do in this essay, that will reflect the
Yes.
3 body paragraphs. Actually.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. One body paragraph 1, the issue, and it's point 1. Its reason, impacts, example, and then the closing line.
Okay.
Is it okay?
That you're saying if you're in favor of what the author's claim is. Okay.
The structure should be the same.
Yes, the structure should be the same. Like I said, the original claim, you said it should be the first thing.
Yeah.
Then what you believe in, either if you're in favor of it, if you're against it, you could quote that the evidence is not enough for such and such reasons in the first paragraph very briefly. And then coming to the first point, the author mentioned this. However, it's not believable because this.
Yeah.
Okay? So declarative statements, keep this in mind. फिर second body paragraph में exactly the same thing.
Same thing.
Yes. You could be right. Ideally, there should be 3 body paragraphs. Ideally. 4 to 5 lines, 3 body paragraphs. More than enough.
Come to the conclusion.
Yes.
In conclusion, our 3 body paragraph, basically the brief or precise form of 3 body paragraph is our conclusion.
No, your conclusion, like we just read this essay, it's again a mention of the original claim made in the prompt.
Obviously,
yes.
Because we are discussing our claim in 3 body paragraphs separately in the one
No, but the original claim is what you're not supporting. You are giving evidence for why you're not supporting in those 3 body paragraphs. The last paragraph is going to be a mention of the original claim once again. And that, although the author has said
obviously, we are not going to start another essay in conclusion.
Yes.
We are just going
and the last line is going to be about what you believe in.
Yeah.
Yes. That's the concluding paragraph.
Yeah, that's the strong sentence that is.
Exactly. The strongest sentence and the way how you should be concluding it. Okay, so I'm going to close this session over here. If you have any questions and answers, we are going to do them after the session ends. And we are going to be looking at an issue essay as well. And I'm going to share the links. I hope this workshop was fruitful and you were able to gain some knowledge and were able to develop some skills as to how you're going to tackle the kind of questions for GMAT and GRE English. And I hope you all do really well, inshallah. And this brings us to the end of the 2 days workshop for English, GMAT, GRE. Thank you so much, everyone.